Welcome to my weekend update on the financial markets. Today we will discuss the price action of S&P 500, US oil, gold and Bitcoin at the weekly, daily and 4-hour time frame so that you know what to do in the markets the week ahead. Let's start with the S&P 500 index at the weekly and go all the way down to the 4-hour time frame and my actual trade. That's an $4,700 profit at the moment. On the weekly, you can see that we're still in an uptrend, printing new all-time highs, and that it's all the way up to my take profit target. We will look at it again at the daily time frame. Here you can see the daily support and resistance zones all passed by after another. And after we have seen a break above this double top here and got a nice pullback to this support and resistance zone, back in the days it was just resistance, now it turned also support, and from there on price started again higher. That's pretty bullish. I already set my stop loss level from the last low here where I started my trade. You can see the entry right at the 4-hour time frame. If we switch to that, I moved it already to my entry level so that the trade is risk free except my fees. I can lose on this trade if price decides to turn against me, but I think chances are high that we will see in the upcoming weeks a push to the 6,000 point mark, and that would mean that my take profit of nearly $6,000 will get hit. That would look pretty nice in the account balance. Let's drop to the 4-hour time frame to see it in more detail. Here you can see the blue dotted 4-hour downtrend line that got broken to the upside, and there was the entry of this trade. I also was able, after a break to a new all-time high here, to draw this daily solid white uptrend line into the chart, and that's at the moment also a support level for price if we see another dip. What's not allowed to happen before we reach this take profit target? It's not allowed to happen for price to fall below this daily support and resistance zone here. That would mean that we will probably see a huge dip, maybe all the way back down to my entry level here and take me out of my long trade. Maybe this orange solid weekly uptrend line will hold price, and from there on we will recover. Or the worst thing that could happen would be that we will break below that, don't recover here, break also there, and then get a pullback to this weekly uptrend line and break the pullback to the downside. That would mean that we'll probably see prices decline all the way back down to this secondary older long-term weekly uptrend line here and the major weekly support and resistance zone, and from there on recover and start again to the upside. But that's the worst case scenario with a small likelihood. So stay bullish at the moment till price proves you otherwise. That's it for S&P 500. Let's switch to US oil. Here you can see oil at the weekly time frame zoomed out to see this red monthly solid downtrend line that got broken to the upside in combination with the 200 moving average and this massive monthly support and resistance zone where price came by often and turned. So a key zone where price is actually at. So it's worth zooming inside here. Here you can see an orange downtrend line that got broken to the upside, but since then we not have seen really bullish price action. Indeed, at the moment it looks more bearish because the 200 moving average was support every time price touched it, and then price broke below it, and now the 200 moving average is no longer support. Instead, it turned resistance. So expecting further downtrend movements from oil. Let's drop down to the daily time frame to see it in more detail. Here you can see that I have drawn in a triangle formation that was built up on the daily time frame and broken to the downside. Normally, if you have a triangle formation like this and you see a break either to the up or the downside, you follow the side where it breaks out, because normally that means we will see further price action in that direction of the breakout. Here you can see we break out to the downside, recovered all the way back up to the middle point of this triangle and found their massive resistance and turned lower from here. The MACD also crossed to the downside, even more bearish signals. So at the weekly and daily time frame we get bearish signals from price, and it's good possible that we will see prices hitting lower all the way back down to this weekly support and resistance zone here. If we break that one to the downside, that will mean that we got a new low and that we have to change this solid weekly downward line from there to here, and then we are all the way below this trend. At the moment that's not the case, so I will let it like placed earlier. And let's drop to the 4-hour time frame, because there we got another signal. At the 4-hour time frame we can see a daily solid downtrend line that got broken to the upside in combination with the 4-hour support and resistance zone, and after that price build an ABC pattern. Normally if you see a break of a downtrend and then follows an ABC pattern, a break of this ABC pattern to the upside would be bullish and often tradable. If we get after a break a setback and a break of the setback to the upside, that would be a good trading setup. Entering above the setback, stop loss below the setback, or if you want to be conservative, below point C, and take profit. Take profit at the upper side of the daily downtrend line of the triangle. You see, in this case, you wouldn't get a good risk-reward ratio. I want at least this 1.5 risk-reward ratio. So you could imagine to move it at least below point A for this scenario. Yeah, normally the time frames should be looking or directing in the same direction, so either long or short. In this case, it's a mixed signal, so you could trade this short-term time frame signal to the upside if it occurs, but be cautious. If I do it, I will only use the minimum risk I take per trade, 0.5% of my account balance and not more, or you let this trade completely out and let it run till the signs are clearer. That's it on oil. Let's switch to gold. Gold at the weekly time frame, we can see price had a hard time getting above this often tested resistance zone here, but after it was able, we printed a huge impulse followed by a correction and followed by a second huge impulse to the upside that not want to seems to end, even if MACD indicator is pretty much stretched to the upside. And normally after such a stretched MACD indicator to the upside follows a huge correction. That was the thing I was expecting also here. Because of that I went into a short trade, but later more to it at the 4-hour time frame. So at the moment printing new all-time highs, and yeah, that's good for all long-term investors. Let's drop to the daily time frame to see it more in detail. We have here the daily solid uptrend line in combination with the 200 moving average, or it's pretty much aligning at least. It's pretty far away from price. So that's also the thing I mean with prices stretched really to the upside. It can keep on going, but at some time it has to end and we have to see a cool down in price. That's nothing more than healthy. Because of that, I was forced to draw in here a secondary white dotted uptrend line. That would be also the next area where price will find probably support if we get another dip. But so far we are printing new all-time highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. The structure of an intact uptrend. And I think I don't want to short this until I see a change in that. So lower highs and lower lows. Yeah, MACD indicator is again crossing to the upside. So everything is good. Even if we have seen here this high and the MACD indicator is higher than the price high of the MACD indicator here. And that could be or could develop to a divergence, and the divergence can mean that we will see the correction here in the next couple of days and weeks. If we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see my failed short trade. Stop loss above the last high. Entry after we have seen a break of this 4-hour uptrend and went first in my direction. Take profit would have been above this daily secondary uptrend line, but then it turned and knocked me out of my trade with printing new all-time highs. That was a minus 0.5% of my account balance, the smallest risk I'm taking if I'm taking a trade at all. And yeah, that's a good thing, because otherwise I would have lost much more, but I don't recommend risking much if you want to short a really bullish uptrend. That's always a little bit riskier than other trades. So yeah, either you don't take such trades at all, or you're risking just a little bit. Yeah, at the moment it looks bullish, stretched but bullish. So I don't have a good trading setup here to participate from further bullish movements at the moment, because I think it's not holding long anymore. I'm looking out for another short opportunity, risking again only a little. And if we have seen a correction maybe to this secondary daily uptrend line, or even all the way back down to this main solid daily uptrend line combination with this daily support and resistance zone here, that would be also a good opportunity to look out for a price to bottoming out and find again support and turn again to the upside for a long trade opportunity. But I think that will take another couple of days or weeks, and I will inform you in my next reports about my strategy there. That's it for gold. Let's switch to Bitcoin. Bitcoin also on the weekly time frame here, we have been able to make a new all-time high. Since then we are in a correction. I think the low is already in. MACD indicator is telling us the same because it's crossing finally to the upside. That could well mean that we will see a breakout of this consolidation to the upside in the next couple of days or weeks. Let's drop down to the daily time frame to this price channel. We went from the lower side all the way up to the upper side. I went around here in a long position that went now in my take profit. We will talk about that at the 4-hour time frame. Now is the question, we will see the immediate breakout next week to the upside, or we will see first a correction back inside the range. If we will see the first one break out of the channel to the upside, I would expect that we will see around this area here somewhere resistance, and that we will see from there on a correction, maybe an ABC. That would be ideal, back all the way back down to the upper side of this price channel, and from there on a break, retest, and again a break, and then new all-time highs. That would be a highly tradable event and nothing to fear. The second possibility is that we will first break back into the range, make here an ABC correction, maybe all the way back down to this daily secondary uptrend or even the midpoint of the cycle, and from there on recover and break out and make new all-time highs. Also, tradable event, nothing to fear about. I will inform you how I did it, or how I will do it in my next reports if price develops as drawn in here. The worst scenario is that we will down see price finding at this area support and break all the way back down to the lower side of the price channel and retest the lows again. I think it's the most unlikely scenario because what we have seen on a weekly time frame, but in Bitcoin nothing is impossible. Keep that always in mind. Let's drop down to the 4-hour time frame to see my last trade. I entered after I have seen the touch of the low of the price channel, and it went all pretty well for me. I moved my stop loss to my entry level after I've seen a break above this daily support and resistance zone, and since then my trade is risk-free. I moved my take profit a little bit lower because I had a fear that we will bounce a little bit earlier, because before we touch the upper side of the price channel and turn and diminish all my gained profits, so I moved the take profit a little bit lower, reduced my risk reward ratio, but it's still fine. Here you can see it on the paper trading history. I made $2,700 on the trade. What's 2.7% on the account balance. So at the moment we have 7.8% profit in the account without calculating in the unrealized profits from the S&P 500 index. That's it for Bitcoin. That's it for my weekend report on the financial markets. If you haven't yet, subscribe now so you don't miss any new updates from me. And I wish you a good start in the week ahead. Bye bye.